at the price action today, and it's like it's dwarfing that little move right there on Friday.
Yeah, but again, it's the fade, right? These markets look so good in the morning. You come back from your walk or whatever you do in the morning, you come back and look at it. It looks like it's going to be okay. And then you get a cup of coffee and it's not okay. It changes really to the fade side real fast. And I think that's going to be a lot of the theme of 2026, early first quarter.
I see increased volatility is kind of like the name of the game, especially as we push volatility down to the lowest level we've had in over a year to close out the year. So should be more volatility going on this year.
Yes, hopefully more volatility means higher option prices if you're an option seller.
I mean, we had a big, that Liberation Day dip and rip was huge. It provided us lots of trading fodder for quite a few months, but we kind of that big dip that we had early in the year, that was bigger than COVID. That
Yeah.
flash crash right there.
Talk about fast. Oh my God, did that happen fast? And it was a little bit, two things for me. It was bewilderingly fast, number one. And I know a lot of people believe that the market is always right. I'm one of those people that believes the market's always wrong and it's searching for the correct price. But they threw the baby out with the bathwater here. But what that did was it set the stage for that hellacious rally. And
Yeah,
we're going to need another pullback like that, hopefully in the first quarter of this year to set up the rest of the year. But it's got to happen. I'm really looking forward to it. I got plenty of dry powder. I got my list of stocks I'm going to short. I'm ready for it. It just needs the rug pull needs to happen.
yeah. I'm surprised how many people haven't talked about the fact that drop right there was 100 points, 100 points bigger than the COVID drop, and it only lasted 10 days longer than the COVID drop.
Yeah, and it's two common themes though. It's an everything theme. When COVID went down, we're all going to die. Everybody's going to die. Everything's going to die. There's no cure for COVID. We're all dying. So let's get out of stocks before we're dead. And then on the Liberation Day, it's everything sucks. These tariffs are going to ruin the economy. He's ruining the stock market. He's ruining everything. Tariffs. People can't even spell tariff, but they just overreacted to it so viciously that, I mean, look at what it did. But that was a great reset and it changes hands. It gets the weak holders out. And really, there was a lot of programs selling in there in that dip because they were selling stocks that didn't have anything to do with the tariff, right? Had
Right.
nothing to do with the tariff. Every single stock was going down, everything. Uh, so you got a whole nice, really clean reset. And I would love to have that again. There's a lot of stuff a lot of stocks I want to see go on sale.
Yeah, it's like when you look at the equal weighted S&P, like everything in the S&P went flushing down.
Yeah, it did. That's why I was just sitting here shaking my head, and I was got to pick and choose what I want to buy on sale. I bought everything from McDonald's to more AVGO to yeah, and it wasn't even a crisis. That that's what administrator just says, and that wasn't even really a crisis. To imagine when that comes. Yeah, and every economist, just everybody got to remember, every analyst was so wrong in 2024. I can't remember a year they were more wrong, and I'll find out. I'll get the data and see how wrong they were in 2025. And the economists, every single one of them, if they're not fired already, they should just resign because everyone said the tariff was going to ruin the economy and we'd be back to 1970. And none of that happened. And that just goes to show you these analysts don't know shit and the economists know even less.
There we go. We're in this wedge right now. And I commonly call that a watermelon seed squeeze, where you have lower highs, higher lows. It's pinching price in. When you pinch price in, it's kind of like grabbing a slimy watermelon seed. You squeeze it, it pops. You don't know which direction it's going to go. You know, probably going to go somewhere with force, but it could just sit here. This is the most unlikely place to go. Now, which way? I have a hard time predicting. Just like when you're squeezing a watermelon seed, it's all slimy and wet. It's hard to predict exactly where that's going to go. Same thing right here. That's why I call it a watermelon seed squeeze in price action. Uh, I've met lots of people that tell you that have opinions about where it's going to go when it breaks out on one of these. I find it extremely unclear until we actually get a move and a confirmation. A lot of times it'll fake out. We'll start a fake breakout and then go the other way, or we'll start a positive and go the other way. So it's unreliable. But once we actually get going out of this pattern, and I'll show an example, a recent example on Tesla here. Right back here, we did one last summer. And when you break out, the mouth of the thing tends to be the first big move, like how far we go. And that's exactly what Tesla did. We popped right up there and stopped cold. And we stopped cold there. We haven't really been anywhere since we did that. We made that big pop and we've kind of been there for months. We got there in September. We're still there in October, still there in November. Retraced a little bit, popped back up to wrap up the year here, and then we're right back there in January. So it's been September, October, November, December, January. It's been 4 months. We've just been sitting here consolidating after we got out of that watermelon seed squeeze pop.
Yeah,
So
and speaking of TSLL, I love the chart on Tesla, and I love this chart on TSLL. I sold a boatload of 1750 puts this morning. I really want to get long this thing, and I hope I can get long it through some puts. So if I don't get them at 1750, I'll probably raise my strike a little bit because I think it's going to rip this year. And when it has its day in the sun, which it has not had, I want to be long.
that's a good spot to be right at that roadmap line. I
Yeah,
really like
yeah,
that, Jack. I like that.
me too. That's I went heavy on that. I'm going to heavy up some more and maybe go for the 18 put. I just want to, you know, you see this stuff rip and you're not in it and you were in it, and I hate that. And I know this thing's going to go, and so I want to keep a piece in it. That's unoptioned out. I'm not even going to sell calls on it. I just want to see what it can do without being capped with a call.
Yeah, I don't have any calls right now. I closed all my 24s for this week and I'm just riding because I don't tend to sell calls on when we're doing this kind of price action right here. When it's just down, 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 I don't tend to
Yeah,
sell
that's not
calls.
good. This is a better time right now to do a cash secured put. If it was up higher, I'd be more selling calls, but I don't want to sell calls right in this range.
And look, every time we get one of these big sells right here, what happens? We turn around and rip. So I don't want to be caught with a low strike price call sold and we turn around and rip. So I'm just kind of sitting there waiting right now.
Yeah, me too. But I'm waiting for it to go higher, but I'm not going to wait. Wait, I'm just going to continue to sell puts and buy a little stock.
Yeah.
And those 23 calls, I'm going to buy to close those. They're just not worth anything, and they expire today. And I'll sell a little bit of the calls out there on there.
Well, I have some 19s, 20s, 21s. Those all those puts are sold for me, and I have about 5,000 shares I'm sitting on.
And this thing is trading
And I got an
like
11-cent dividend right at the end of the year there.
nice. Yeah, this is it's not trading like a high beta stock, but it is a high beta stock, which is
And
the weirdest thing about it. It's trading like as flat as some of my flat stuff, McDonald's, J&J. But that beta, regardless, it's going to mean you're going to get a high price for the options you sell.
so yeah, that beta right there, 3.3 right now. It is off of I think we were over 4 for a little bit there, or we're like 3.9. So we're back down to 3.3, but it's still nice and fat and juicy. It is a 2x leverage on Tesla. So leverage cuts both ways. If Tesla drops 10%, this is going to be down 20%. Be careful that way. But Jack and I have found this thing just keeps paying, Keeps paying.
Yeah, and that dividend is that's better than an S&P 500 dividend, 1.97.
So I
So
collected that dividend and I collected this dividend back here, and it's pretty fat.
this fat. Yeah. But the stock's not behaving like a 3.31 beta stock. If that were the case, it'd be all over the place. This is actually in a range, whereas lines are just showing you what the range is. So,
Yeah, I collected about $560 payday right there on New Year's, just collecting that dividend. Sweet.
yeah, doing the same thing, Jan, on IBIT.
I,
Puts and
I have a
calls.
I have 100 shares right now. I just sold 54 strike for not next Friday, but the Friday after that. So 2 weeks out, 54s.
Yeah. The beta on this one is wrong, but I don't think that's a 70 beta.
Yeah, well, I mean, let's see. We had a beta where we could actually turn it in and calculate it. Let's see. Beta. Let's see if this will calculate it.
IBIT is not going to have a good year. Not going to have a good
Let's
year. It's going to be good to trade it, but I don't have any expectations that it's going to rip. The bloom is off the rose with Bitcoin, and therefore that's going to be the bloom is off the rose with IBIT.
Yeah, the 6 month beta right now is sitting right around one. So it was running up here at two, but now lately it's
236. Oh.
lately it's right at one. So that actually fits with what I'm seeing. I mean, the S&P hadn't really been doing crazy stuff, and this is not really doing crazy stuff. Look at it. This was down for the year, whereas the S&P was up for the year. So
That blows a lot of the theory of Bitcoin out of the water as a safe haven or a valuable asset, just not turning out to be that.
we've got this consolidation. I call it a low consolidation because, well, price is on the lower side of the chart here. We're just churning in here. If you're buying puts or selling calls, or selling puts and selling calls, like this is just churn. It's
Yeah,
great to make money.
it
I
is.
only I only have one position, 100 shares. I got put right in here at the beginning of this, and I've been selling calls all the way across here. And I stepped out 2 weeks to be able to jump up to 54. My cost basis is like 47, I think, right now. And I just keep churning the money. So if I'm in at 47 or I have my cost basis at 47, I get called out at 54, you know, that's $7 a share times 100 share. That's $700 for something that didn't do jack diddly. Hadn't really done jack, hadn't done nothing.
Young Hoon. Yeah, yeah, I see this comment was Young Hoon. Young Hoon Genie. What did he say? 150 I bit by the end of the year or Bitcoin?
Yeah. Yeah. 150. I think, we were talking about that. The smartest guy in the year, smartest guy in the world. And doesn't look like that played out. So
No,
Bitcoin not really, just kind of
smartest guy
ended.
in the world.
Bitcoin ended the year just doing nothing right there at like 88,000.
And that is not what people wanted. They wanted to see some kind of a gain this year. Not that. That's the opposite of what they wanted. And that put the hurt on BlackRock's earnings. A lot of outflows from their IBIT ETF. It put the hamper down on MSTR. Let's take a look at MSTR.
MSTR. Now, MSTR was acting like leveraged Bitcoin, and it was up to 8x the NAV
Mm,
at the
mm.
peak back here early in the year. And, actually it peaked last year. So all of this year it was kind of down, down, down. And we have opportunity to hold on to this 140, 150 area. We spiked down this morning, started out the new year with a spike down to 150. If we can hold on to that, this could be a turning point on MSTR. I
I
I
don't care
think
about that. I'm kicking
all the
myself for not shorting it when we brought it up the first time and I said it's hanging on by a thread. What was it? 250? I did nothing.
Yeah, all the people that got involved right there, this price action, the last month of the year, probably sufficiently bumming them out.
Hmm.
And when you sufficiently bum everybody out, that opens it up for a rally. That resistance right now sitting up around 250. That'll be a decision point. So we could rally back up another 100 points. And then what happens? I don't know. We could come down again, or we could actually break through and go higher. But right now, I expect a bounce, at least in the short term, maybe a couple months, could be the whole first quarter. But I'm not trading it because this is a downtrend. We're below the roadmap line. Bounces are not guaranteed until you have a reversal pattern show up, which this has no reversal pattern. That just says continuation, and continuation can keep going lower. 120 is my lower target. If we don't hold on to this 140, 150, down here around 120 is the next stop. That big blue arrow was drawn on here months ago, expecting that 120. So we may get a little reprieve and then come on down. It doesn't have to make it up to here. So till we prove that we're reversing price, I wouldn't bet on it going higher. I expect it to go higher, but I don't. I'm not like putting any money on it.
Me neither. I'm not doing anything with it. I'm trading IBIT. I have no more Bitcoin or no more crypto, and I'm not trading this. I kicking myself for not shorting it.
And Coinbase also getting beat down, but it has a little bit of opportunity to go a little bit lower.
Wow,
So
that
this,
thing has really been hammered.
yeah, this thing went ripping up to an all-time high right up here in July, and we've turned it around and brought it right back down, sitting on this 618, right around this 220, 225 area. If we can hold on to that, if we can actually bounce, we're gonna have to prove that we can get through this prior consolidation, this roadmap line, all kind of coming together with a confluence of resistance right there. We're gonna have to get above that, kind of test it from the top, and then that could set us up for big upside. Could. I don't know that it's going to. Like that's the high, here's the low. If we got continuation, we could see a massive upside. But Bitcoin's gonna have to quit being stupid in order for that to happen. And right now we're sitting here at 200, could be well into the 1300 area, but there's no guarantees here. You say like that's a crazy move. We've seen all sorts of crazy moves in 2025. There's no reason we can't do crazy stuff in 2026. I think 2026 is likely to be crazier, at least volatility wise.
I
Things
agree.
just things just aren't going to make sense at all. Like,
No, it's a crowded field already in some of this stuff, and it's not all going to survive. But VRT got a nice pop today.
yeah,
Shocking. I thought it would fade a little bit after the open. I didn't think it'd hold up, but
that's the pattern, Jack. Look at that. Beautiful.
right
Bounce.
off.
If we can get right above that 179 area, then we have this little bit of resistance from this prior bounce right there. So we got a little bit of resistance right in that zone. But once we clear that 179, it opens the doorway. 75% likely to go on up to
Big,
210.
big run. Yeah,
75% likely.
this I sold the 172.50 puts. I had it put to me there, and the 177.50s. I had it put to me there. So I'm in pretty good shape. And I sold another 175 put today for $3. So I want to build another position here.
Yeah, there's no reason we can't do crazy things in 2026. That's the I mean that's absolutely true though. Like there's not a reason in the world that the market can't just do crazy stuff.
Especially
So
with all these IPOs coming up. Starlink and Anthropic and Stripe. Wow. Going to be a great year.
and there's no guarantees that we get any of those IPOs. The whole
None.
market could change. Even though they're hotly anticipated, they've been hotly anticipated. They can keep being hotly anticipated.
Yep.
So there's no guarantees that any IPOs happen this year.
Nothing's signed. Databricks has already pushed off their IPO for years. So they're trying to come in 26, but there's no guarantee. But even if they don't come, there's going to be better stories like Vert right here, doing better business and going higher. I expect this to be much higher. AVGO, expect that to be a lot higher.
Yeah, we still got some downside potential though on that one for me.
Man,
Um,
I sold some more. So I sold the 335 put, and that expired today. I bought that back for a penny or two, and then I sold the 345 put. So we'll see how that goes.
that one might be a nail biter if you got the close today.
Oh, I want it. I want the stock.
All
So
right.
if I get it at 345 and I got 296 for the selling of the put, then I'm good. Pays a nice dividend. I'm just under 2,000 shares. So I want to get a little over 2,000, 2,500 this year. And when I get them, I just sell calls against them just to explain it to you. It sounds crazy to use the wheel strategy on this stock, but I do because I really want more of it. So, if I sell a 345 put here, I got no problems. Um,
You
on
know,
calls.
we were having that conversation earlier this week. It seems like a year ago. You were talking, you were like, when you get to be managing 1.5, $2 million in this 50K challenge, you're gonna have a hard time doing the things you're doing. But you're sitting here talking about, 2,500 shares of something that cost $350, you know, 347 really, but 350, 2,500 shares. That's, Jack, you're talking about an $800,000 position right there. I
Yeah.
don't, I don't feel like managing $2 million is that difficult. You just
No.
go after the higher price stuff.
Yeah, and I
Um,
hold this. That's the other thing is I use a combined approach, right? I wheel it, but I'm also never going to sell it. So I'm not going to put myself in much of a position to get called out, but I'll put myself in a position to get it put to me. But that's one of the biggest differences with this stock, and something that I got a stupid cost basis in. That's the other thing. But
and it's,
I don't think you'll have trouble managing any account if you allocate it to positions. But if you're trying to wheel it and stay in cash most of the time, you're going to have some issues.
but that's the thing. I'm not staying in cash with this right here. I've actually got $2,000 in free cash. The rest of it's tied up in positions.
Hmm.
So you think about that, $120,000, 2,000 of it sitting in cash, 118,000 of it is put in positions right now that are cash generating.
Right. Awesome.
So, and that's, we haven't talked, this is a live conversation between Jack and I. We don't talk off off screen about this stuff. But you know, if I get to the point where I'm managing that 2 million, I'm probably not taking $2,500 of AVGO. I'm probably, you know, roughly, I've been spreading it among 7 positions right now, but I may move up to like 10 positions. So 10% of my account would be tied up in something like this. And I might even move up to like 15 positions because that's not all that difficult for me to keep up with the software that we use. So you're taking, if I get to the point where I have a $2 million account, when I get to that point, not if, it's going to be when, and I'm going to manage 10 positions, that's $200,000. If I was getting involved in something like AVGO here, divide by $350 a share, roughly, I'm only looking at like 5, maybe 6 contracts. And I don't feel
Well,
like that even makes a big dent in AVGO's, you
no,
know,
doesn't. And again, all of my stuff is unbalanced. My portfolio, if you look at it, it is not diversified at all. I've got 7,000 shares of Nvidia, you know, bumping up 2,000 on AVGO. That's way out of whack. And that's just those two. And there's a lot of tech I have that's completely unbalanced, but it's been working. It's been
yeah.
working for me great. So, I'm going to let it roll. I have no plans on selling this. I figure I got 20, 25 more years in the game. I can't imagine where this thing is going to be in 25 years. I just want to be around to see it. And I'll still be trading it. We talk about retirement. one of my friends is 63 and he doesn't work at all. Um, he got fired from his last job and he got fired. It's kind of funny. He got recruited and stolen, poached from another company, and then the company that poached him fired him. And he just wasn't a good fit. But when we talk about work, you know, he was running a tech company, CEO, and uh, I tell him this to me is not work. I enjoy this. I love the market. If it wasn't for the stock market, I'd be in jail or digging ditches somewhere. And I don't think of this as work. I think, you know, I see my mother-in-law doing crossword puzzles to keep her brain sharp. You know, I could sell options, do the same thing, never have to quit doing it.
No, I mean, you know, you sit here and you dig into these option charts, and if you stay on top of your game, and you know, the market tells you if you're on top of your game or not by whether
Mhm.
you're right or wrong. And you know, you stay in here and you're sitting here doing the math and checking it and doing it, like you should keep a sharp mind.
I
If you
will.
start, you know, you start losing it, you know, you start like doing the math and you're like, wait a minute. And you do the math again, you get a different number. Then you know you're losing it a little bit. So it can definitely
Mhm.
tell you whether
I've
you're
had
still
those
sharp or not.
I've had those moments where I put in everything backwards and yeah, but that still happens.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
have those
no, I
moments
love
where I
this
where
thing.
I click the calls instead of the puts, and I'm like, what the fudge did
I've
I
done
just do?
that too. Yeah. The most embarrassing thing I ever did was about 2 weeks ago. I did a debit spread as a credit spread live in front of about 300 people. And I was showing them how to do this upside down option trade. And I put it in wrong in front of everybody. And the reason for that was I was staring at the chat. I got so distracted by there was over 100 questions in there. I just could not keep up. And when I went to do my trade live, I did it wrong, did it backwards. So that's why you always need to focus. And you can always
Yes,
simply unwind it and put it back on the correct way. No harm, no foul.
and that's why I don't. You know, a lot of people ask me why I don't sit here and trade live. It's a whole different level of concentration you need to be able to keep up with
Yes.
live chat, live people, live, you know, have a conversation with everybody and make all the proper decisions to trade.
Too
It's
hard.
usually why I step away from all this environment and go to my desk that's, you know, just me and some screens and get my actual trades done.
Yeah, me too. I can't do it anymore with live questions.
So,
Just I'm trying to help everybody out. You can't help them all out when you're trying to do the trade. So I still do a little bit of live stuff during the master classes, but I don't want to be looking at the chat when I do it because I don't want to embarrass myself like I just did. And I make those mistakes on my own even when I'm not staring at the chat. So you just always got to be careful.
yeah, so if anybody's trying to, you know, if anybody's down on themselves about, you know, making mistakes, you just gotta find your peace, you know, quiet zone, whatever it takes to be able to sit there and you know get everything right. And if you need to take screenshots and show it to other people, find a group you can do that. And that's partly what my trading group in Discord, you know, is there for. If you want to double check your trades, you screenshot them, post them, say, hey, you may see anything wrong with this. I'm trying to do XYZ and then I have open, like, or I'm about to open. And if anybody comments, hey, you got your strikes reversed or you're selling the wrong one. You're like,
Mm-hmm.
and that's what having a group of like-minded traders can do for you.
Yeah, big help. And trading can be a lonely thing, especially if you're new. It's just like you're out there on your own, and being in part of a group like Jeffries is really amazing. But AVGO is one of my favorites. I like the jockey. I like the fact that he bet on himself. Their cash flow is ridiculous. They pay the dividend, and you stick with it, and that dividend, that yield on cost, goes up over 2%. Now you're golden. So yeah, I love this thing. Love the cash flow. Love the management. Love the jockey. Love the business.
And Jack, I have kind of a prediction that I think you know, last year I was predicting silver would be the biggest winner of the year. And right now I'm kind of thinking that China might be the biggest winner of the year this year. It's been beat down for a couple of years. They've been working on turning it around, specifically like technology in China. And we look at the this yin chart right here, which is 3x bulls on China technology, and it's kind of beat down. And I think that similar to the way Korea was last year, see if I can get it right. KORU is 3x bull on Korea. Look at this last year. It went from being down here at 30 all the way up here to 200. I think that we
And
could possibly see a performance like that on yen right here this year.
I wouldn't touch that with a 10-foot chopstick.
But China's been discounted out, counted out of the market for a little while.
They can be.
And
They can be counted out for as long as I'm alive. I would never touch a Chinese stock. They don't even they admit to they don't even have straight up accounting. How
yeah,
can you do that, man? How can you trade a Chinese stock?
so I just have this feeling that we're going to see some China technology stuff be the outperformers this year. Whether they tell the truth or not, I just have this feeling that's where the big opportunity might come into the play in the market. So I may pick up just a couple of shares of yen just to
Wow.
see if
You
I'm right.
should. You should. I don't do Chinese.
So I've touched that hot stove lots of times. I've lost money. Any individual stock, they can bull crap and lie, but I feel like some of these ETFs, now this is a 3x bull. So if I'm right, I'm really right. If I'm wrong, I'm really, really wrong. And if you want to fade me on it, you can always trade the Yang. That's a 3x bear. But that thing hadn't done crap, even though their market's been beat down. So that
Mm.
one just keeps going down, going down, going down.
Yeah, I really don't do anything with any foreign stocks.
And
Now that I think
if
about it, definitely wouldn't do any Chinese stuff.
if you
It's
wanted to be
just
broad against China, there's FXI. KWeb is another way to have
you
exposure to it.
you
And then
and I
C,
traded a spread on KWeb earlier this year.
yeah, it just hadn't gotten going yet.
I know. I was waiting for it to kicking in. It never kicked in, but we just had such a little investment in it. It didn't even matter. The debit spread is great for that because your time is limited, but you can get into the trade for so cheap. I don't think we spent $100 on that.
yeah. See, I thought it was going to bounce, but it didn't bounce. It went a little deeper, but we actually came down to a different pattern, a reversal pattern of mine right there on that drop. So I'm kind of looking for this to bounce. And I might put some money on this one too. This is a China internet ETF. Crane shares is not leveraged. CWeb is another way to play. This is China with 2x leverage on the internet stuff. So I just have this feeling like, coming into the year, I thought AGQ coming into the year last year, I thought AGQ was the big opportunity. You can see we were hanging out right here at 35, and we ended the year up here at 160. So this is kind of like I'm known for kind of getting lucky on some of these, and I just have this feeling like China might be able to get its crap together this year. We'll see. So anyway, that's no better time than the first trading day of the year to talk about an opportunity like this. I feel like
That's right. That's right. So you think China's going to be the big winner of 2026?
I have a feeling like KORU Korea. This arguably might have been the biggest performer right here last year. Look at that performance from Liberation Day up there. If you went to the beginning of 2025, that's 589% higher. If you went back to the beginning of 2025, pop it right in there, turn off the magnet. 459%. So I just have this feeling like even if China does another little dip, like we could see that kind of upside performance there on China. And this is a 3x leverage. So that, Korea as a whole didn't do 459. It was the 3x leverage did 459. And that's why I was looking at the yen, because we could see something like that take place here on yen, and we could see something like a 300, 400% upside. If we got that 300%, we'd be up at 200. It's kind of like a reasonable spot I think we might be able to attain. And if we got up to like a 500, could be up near 300. So that's why maybe buying a few shares, and I'm just talking like maybe 2 shares that I might pick up, put $100 on it, and see if that turns into something bigger. So anyway, you can let me know what you think in the chat. If you like it, if you don't like it, that's cool. You don't have to take it. Like I said, you can fade me with one of the bear internet, the China bear
Yeah.
ETFs.
And I'm hitting Fermi a little harder now. FRMI.
Yeah,
I think I did tell you that it is a REIT,
yep.
but they're not going to go with the REIT structure until they're fully operational. So my first
It's
trade in here was 755, and I sold the 750 put, and I bought a bunch of stock. I sold the 750 put, which I never got the stock from, and then I sold the $10 call. So I got this bad boy boxed in.
it's got a big resistance zone sitting there.
Yeah, good. I hope so. I just don't know what's going to happen with this. This is 100% pure speculation on my part. I have no clue, but the story is just too good for me. Uh, it wants to be a REIT. Their biggest tenant backed out. They're being sued by a whole handful of lawyers in Texas. It's not your typical management team, right? Rick Perry, former Secretary of Energy, is running the show, former governor of Texas. So my plan is to just trade the heck out of it, and when it does turn into a REIT, see where I'm at relative to the yield. But I love this one.
Yeah, I mean, it's one that I've talked about quite a bit, and it's interesting
It is.
because for lots of reasons. One of those is Texas passed this rule that if you're going to build big data centers, that you have to have behind the meter power, which means you
Me-
can't be a net negative on the Texas grid,
Meaning you can't force the taxpayer to pay for your power.
right?
You got to do
So
it on your own. And I like that because it requires them to do more infrastructure investment. And that's the whole point with Fermi is that they're not energy dependent, that they're energy positive.
yeah, and they're looking to deploy. They have three of the AP 100 Westinghouse nuclear reactors on order, from what I understand. And I guess they need a customer though, locked in. If they lost their customer, then they got big problems. But if they can get their customer locked in and actually get some stuff built, this could turn into a pretty big thing
But
right here.
that's the other story here. Like I just can't believe this thing. It has all the markings for a movie. The story was that Amazon was the tenant, and as of the IPO, this was a weird one in that it went public very fast. It wasn't held up on a private platform where funding was going on at different valuations. This thing just came public. And I guess in the business plan, they had the tenant, didn't disclose who it was. I guess it was Amazon. Amazon backed out. Now, one of the guys there, I can't remember which guy, he said, nothing's happened with the contract. Nobody's backed out of anything. It's just a long negotiation, and this is part of a long term negotiation. So, yeah, the story is really amazing. And yeah, it says right there. Well, they deny that it was Amazon, or yeah,
Yeah, they're
Tony,
denying that.
Tony's the guy. Tony Neugerbauer. He's the one saying that these negotiations are going to take a long time and it's not over. So, and even that one tenant would not put them at full capacity or anywhere near it. So I don't know what's going to happen for them to turn into a real REIT, meaning paying 92.5% of their revenue. But right now, it's just uh, it's just great story. Um, I just love what's happened. I love being long it. I love having sold the $10 strike price calls, and I love being short the $7.50 puts.
Yeah,
Only monthly options. That's the problem, Susan. Yeah.
I think it's interesting. Like, this they had. I don't know how, who, whatever announced that the deal was supposed to close on some date, and it the prospective tenant, whoever it is, Amazon or otherwise, asked for an extension. It was like a 90-day extension. So instead of closing the deal on the day it was supposed to close, it got punted for 90 days. And all of a sudden that turned into this whole like this deal is like falling apart and all this stuff. It's just I don't know. It's all funny to me how this stuff happens.
It is.
And,
Yeah, it is.
and all of that story went from this being up here at 28 to flushing this thing all the way down to 7.
And that's what the
And
law firms are saying that it was a scam, that They weren't forthright with the shareholders. But if you ever read a prospectus, it's the most boring read. It's really telling you all the risks. So I don't think that's going to hold, and I don't think these lawyers can take down Rick Perry. He's in Texas, man. He's in his own backyard. You're not going to take him down. He was a Secretary of Energy, former governor of Texas. There's no way the lawsuits are going to hold. That's just my opinion. I don't know anything about it, but my $7.50 put, Dan, I'm going to load up more on those as we get closer because they're only monthly, so I don't want to do them too far out. But the way these strikes are set up, it's golden.
And it's one of those things too, like Elon and Trump and all these guys that actually negotiate, they say all the time, like, you can't tell everybody what your negotiation is because then you can't win the negotiation. Like that's,
Exactly.
you can't disclose all the details of the negotiation or it's never going to happen. So it's kind of like, you keep your cards close to the vest, they keep their cards close to the vest, nobody admits anything. And, you know, somebody opened their big mouth though, and this got pummeled.
That's right. Yeah, somebody opened their mouth and they might not even have been right about that, like if it was Amazon. But let's say it was Amazon. And these guys, someone's going to move into this thing. It's There's no way this thing is just going to stay vacant forever. But what happens now? Google says, "Yeah, we'll take some of that spot." Then Amazon's going to come right back and say, "No, we want the original spot." That's what's going to happen here. Everybody wants to stay away from it because it stinks. But once it's proven that it's got something behind it, they're all going to rush back in. Plus, technically, look at that gap in price. Now, that has to be filled in going forward. You can't have that big open spot there between 14 and 9 or whatever, right? That's all going to be filled in. So I'm looking forward to that as well.
Yep. Should be interesting. But for me personally, I've got to see some sort of reversal show up in here. Now, it doesn't. Sometimes they just rip, and this could just rip right back up into the 30s, and I never get a piece. But I like to see the ones like Fly, and I have a trade on this that's closing out today. We
Me
talked
too.
about it 2 weeks ago when we were
Loving this.
here, and I put on that 17 strike. I think it was 17. It was either 17 or 18 right there. Got paid 75 cents. I had to go out 2 weeks to do it. And here we are today. It's banging around 23. I'm not going to get put the shares. Going to make all the money. It was more than a 40% ROI for 2 weeks. I'm pretty happy with that, Jack. I'm
I
pretty
love
happy.
Fly, man. Fly's my new one. Fly and ASTS.
Yep.
ASTS is the new one. I've been in Fly for a while, but I'm going to stick in Fly. It's one of my FIPOs, my failed IPOs.
Now since I see this pattern again with a higher low right there. Now this is different than a watermelon seed squeeze. When I talk about the watermelon seed squeeze, you see the lower highs and higher lows. This is a higher high and a higher low. That's a trend. Like this right here was the initial, this last 2 weeks ago when we were talking about this was an initial sign that this was a reversal. Now we've got a confirmation that this is a reversal. I may actually fly in here, go out another 2 weeks, sell another put, since I know that one today is going to expire and be worthless.
Would you ever take a stock position and sell the put? Take the position because you don't want to see it rip without being in it? And that's
I
the
don't,
problem with puts is, you watch this thing keep going up and up and up and you never get the stock. And, if I'm going to build a position, I want some stock.
I don't really roll with the market with FOMO anymore. If it's meant to happen, it's going to put it to me. It's kind of like Rocket Lab. I didn't aggressively chase Rocket Lab either. Back, you know, we had to roll back to the summer of last year. This bounced in April. Jack and I started doing this show somewhere around July, but I had already been put this stock. I started chasing it right in here in May. I was selling weekly puts, weekly puts, weekly puts. Got put right there on that dip. Came in at a little more aggressive on this pop and got put right there. And then it ripped. And I had like 1,200 shares. Sold some upside calls, sold some upside calls, rolled them up at the end, and got called out right at the end up here.
Beautiful.
And then I had no FOMO. Like I got my piece. I was pretty happy with it. And I just left it alone. Like a lot of people are like, where are you going to get back in? Where are you going to get back in? And it's like, I didn't feel like I had to get back in. I got a piece of it, a big piece. And I didn't get back in until just recently. And right here, instead of selling puts on this one, I went ahead and bought a 70 strike call and sold an 80 strike call. I'm up like 100% right now. I'm looking at like a 300%. It cost me $2 to do that
Wow.
call spread right there. $2, but the potential payout was $10. Of course, minus my original $2 cost, so $8. So 4x my money potential if it goes all the way through both strikes, which it hasn't yet. But I'll probably just take a 3x payout. I'll cash out at $6 instead of waiting for $8, $10. So anyway,
Nice
don't
stuff. Nice
don't
work.
don't be greedy. All right.
Yeah,
That's
and work on your New Year's resolutions. Learning how to do puts, learning how to work your own platform, right? All that stuff. Now's a good time to reconstruct yourself.
So this one right here, I don't really have that FOMO. Like there's new stuff to take advantage of every day. And we talk about new stuff all the time. It's like, yeah, the last 2 weeks has been a little light, but at the same time, like I don't want to just throw all my money into fly and then it sit there and disappoint me while I miss other opportunities.
Yep.
So
Opportunity cost.
so to me, it's like I don't get FOMO. I don't it's difficult for a lot of people to be like this, but yeah, I might come in here with a 20 strike. I mean, look at that. 14 days out. Yeah, maybe 2050. That'd be about the same I got paid last time right there. Although there's a lot of volume on that 20. I like it. Yeah, it might be about that. Yeah, 75 cents. I might be able to roll out there another 2 weeks and get 75 more bucks. Yeah, think about that. I made 75 bucks already a contract the last 2 weeks. If I can make 75 bucks again the next 2 weeks, and I never had to own the stock, it just keeps going higher. I keep making money. I mean, big deal if I miss out on the big upside. I don't care. I'm make money somewhere else. I'm only trying to make 40% on my account for the year. It's difficult for a lot of people to think like this. I'm happy with what I'm getting. I don't have the FOMO. It doesn't drive me to make poor decisions. It doesn't suck me into stuff. So a lot of people don't necessarily think that way, but it's done well for me over the years. It did well for me last year. I made like 52 grand on this, 50K challenge account. So
I don't really have fear of missing out, but I don't want to miss out when I know it's going up. That's how I frame it.
yeah, I mean, I don't necessarily know that fly's going up. So
Oh, I don't either that, but AVGO I know. Yeah, I
and
don't know about fly. Fly's too new. I don't have conviction on fly. I think it'll make a rip. I'll take a little bit, but I'm not gonna go that crazy on it.
and you look at where 20 is. 20 right now is all the way down here. Now it could come on down again, and we could be down here at 20. But
Well, even then, relative to the IPO price, we're playing in a good little pool down here, price wise. This is disappointment zone, right? They bummed everybody out. Where was it? 60?
yeah, but look, it's basically been hanging around 20
Mm-hmm.
since back here early November.
Yeah. So any cash secured put 20 or less, you're good.
So anywhere
If
right in
anybody
this
wants
20
in on
area,
one.
you're likely to be able to get your money back at least. Even if you caught a dip, you could probably sell an upside call, and on any little bounce in here, you'd get called back out,
Yeah.
get your
And
money back.
being as how so low the price is and the capitalization, any news story is going to put this thing, 80 bucks.
Yeah, it looks like it went from 70
Wow.
all the way down here to 20.
I love that stuff, man. I just love it.
So this one's one that's on my, list to be careful, small allocation, because let's look at it. We did the math on the last one. 75 bucks. That's going to cost you roughly, let me get the Order right, going right in the right place. Mm-mm. It's gonna require out of this one account right here, requires 738 bucks out of different account right here. 19, let's just go at 1926. No margin whatsoever. 1926. Right? So 75 bucks divided by 1926. That's 3.8% in 2 weeks, 14 days. Multiply that by 365 days a year. If you could just grab a position out a whole year, that's 100% return.
without the stock having to go up at all. That's what I love about this stuff.
100% return on investment. So why would I go after the 20? Because it's basically 100% return on investment annualized. Over if I grab the shares, that ties up money today with no guarantee that it goes up at all. I'd rather pick it up at 20 down here at a better price if I was going to put my money at it. So there you go.
All right,
All right,
Blake,
everyone.
what do you have for us?
Blake's got a replay of my special. I have a New Year's special going.
All
That's right,
right.
man. I was gonna say when I saw this deal drop, what was that Wednesday? My days are all messed up this week. I saw that deal drop on Wednesday, and I looked at it and I was like, okay,
97% off you can get in.
Wow. I want in.
97% off the retail price, the regular out-of-pocket retail cost to get involved in this right here for New Year's. So we're going to play that replay right now.
that's
Beautiful.
right. So stick around, guys. You don't want to go anywhere, and I'll answer any questions you have in the chat. Thanks for bearing with us today, folks.
Yeah, Carl, if you're still with us,